We work with a lot of different insurance carriers. Some you've probably heard of, Safeco, Travelers, Hartford, and some maybe you haven't heard of that do other specific niches or are in specific regions of the country.
Hmm.
And we have all these different relationships with these carriers so that when someone comes to us and has an insurance need, we can look for it with different carriers. We can ask them for different quotes, work with them on getting the best coverage, the best price to fit the customer's specific needs.
Welcome to Business Ninjas, brought to you by WriteForMe, where you'll hear from business leaders who are out there growing their business and slaying it every day. Learn from the masters. Let's get started.
Hey everybody, welcome back for another episode of Business Ninjas. I'm here today with Daniel Horn. He's the IT director at Rollo Insurance. Daniel, welcome to the show.
Hey, Kelsey, thanks for having me.
Yeah, excited to have you. So, Daniel, tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, like I said, I'm the IT director for Rollo Insurance in College Station, Texas. I'm originally from a small town called Azle, Texas. I usually just tell people I'm from Fort Worth because nobody knows where Azle is, but it is a suburb of Fort Worth. I went to Texas A&M University and kind of backed into a technology career. I studied history in college, thought I was going to be a history professor. Ended up getting a job right out of school as a developer, did that for a few years, and then I came here in 2013.
That's really interesting. So that sounds like a really interesting journey kind of getting you to Rollo. So tell me more about Rollo Insurance.
Yeah, so Rollo Insurance is a full-service independent insurance agency.
Mhm.
And what does that mean? So we work with a lot of different insurance carriers. Some you've probably heard of, Safeco, Travelers, Hartford, and some maybe you haven't heard of that do other specific niches or are in specific regions of the country.
Mhm.
And we have all these different relationships with these carriers so that when someone comes to us and has an insurance need, we can look for it with different carriers. We can ask them for different quotes, work with them on getting the best coverage, the best price to fit the customer's specific needs.
Mhm. So can you ask for a quote for, like car, home, like
Absolutely.
kind of talk to me about those different areas.
Yeah. So a huge portion of our business is, just regular people's homes and autos.
Mhm.
That's always going to be the backbone of our agency. We have a lot of commercial business. We're in Texas, so we have some big farms and ranches. We do some stuff in the oil industry. Everybody in Texas does those things. But, we have a lot of small businesses. We have the businesses you'd see on Main Street. And, we really enjoy that kind of thing. We emphasize being part of the local community.
That's really interesting. So what would you say the biggest challenge that your clients have before they start working with Rollo is? Is it just, not having like the accessibility for options?
I think part of it is that there's too many options.
Mm.
I mean, you look on TV, what do you see? You see the Geico commercial, you see Jake from State Farm, you see all these different insurance companies on TV. And, the average consumer doesn't necessarily know what the difference is between these, how they stack up against each other. Are they all the same? Maybe it's apples to apples, maybe it isn't. So where we step in is we say, okay, we're going to talk to you. We're going to get to know you, know your family, know your specific needs. We're going to ask you for a bunch of information. Then we're going to go talk to the carriers for you. We're going to say, okay, maybe this carrier fits you, maybe this one doesn't. We're going to talk to the ones that do and come back to you with a proposal. We like to think of ourselves as having a fiduciary duty to the client.
Yeah.
We want to say, hey, here's what we think based on our expertise and our knowledge is the best decision for you for the coverage and the price at the same time.
That's interesting. So kind of talking about your clients, do you see trends in ages, genders? Like talk to me about who the typical or ideal client profile is for Rollo.
It's everything. We like to be able to serve anybody. We like to say we're a one-stop shop for insurance. Any need that you have, we're going to have somebody in the company who is an expert at that thing. So, any need that you have from small to large, we can handle it. Now, we're in Texas, we're in a lot of small towns. We obviously have, business that tends more towards that. But again, we're all over the place. We've expanded in some larger metro areas recently. We've been getting in the more in the DFW and Austin areas. Last year or 2 years ago, actually, we opened up our first office in the Salt Lake City area. So we're starting to move into more larger metros as we start to grow our company.
That's exciting. So, is there any sort of like secret sauce that you think that why it's been successful for the company scaling?
Yeah, so there's a few things. So everything starts and ends with culture. I mean, there are certain things. If you go to another agent who has a relationship with Safeco is probably going to tell them the same thing as they tell us as far as what quote you're going to get. But we really try to differentiate ourselves in number one, how we educate you. And number two, the family atmosphere that we have. A lot of people say they're a family company. Well, we back that up. We're family owned. We're completely private and family owned. And we try to focus on creating a work environment for our people that you can put your family first. You know, if we're creating a work environment where you're sacrificing time with your family to work for us, we've failed. We want to enable you to spend time with your family, to provide for your family. I think people see that when they come work with us. They see that we actually want to engage with them, be part of the community, and get to know them as a person, not just as a number.
So you said that was one thing. You said there might have been another thing too?
Yeah. So we try to really focus on making, on top of that, you have to be good at business too, right? You can't just, put forth a good face on the front. You actually have to back it up. So we, pride ourselves on educating ourselves on all the different insurance options, having those experts in-house, because we're counseling you on those things. Then we really have done a lot of work inside on overhauling our processes over the years. We've expanded now to 52 office locations in 7 states. When I came on board in 2013, office number 9 had just opened. Wow. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea of how the company's grown over that time period. And a lot of that's just been in the last 3 or 4 years. So we've really focused on making our tech stack as good as we can make it. That's always a work in progress. We're always evaluating new software and hardware options. That's where I come in. That's where my department comes in to get that done. But we've also really focused on finding the right people. When we're going into a new state and trying to put an office in an area that we think is going to be good for us to do business in, finding the right people to do that is the key. The talent's the key to everything.
Yeah, that's really interesting. And so it sounds like, finding these people who you've been able to work with, it sounds like there's not necessarily like a threshold for like the amount of money or kind of what they're looking for. It's just open to, whoever may be looking for home, auto, farm, life, anything like that.
Yeah. And of course, maybe when you, let's say, when I was a new college student, what were my assets? Well, I had an old beat up car and a few things that were thrown in my apartment. Well, my insurance needs are going to be different from someone who's nearing retirement, who, maybe their house is paid off. They have all these other things they're trying to protect, trying to pay for their kids' college. Those are different, you have different insurance needs at different stages of your life.
Right.
But, we want you to come to us when you're that young person, when you don't have a whole lot of needs. We'll educate you through the process as the things you need to protect grow.
Yeah. And it sounds like education and brand awareness must be a large piece of, how Rollo's been able to scale.
It really is. We have a dedicated internal training team. We have on-site trainings the first week of every odd numbered month. Okay. So we're coming up on one here soon in March. So we're going to have all of our new hires from our new office locations. We're opening up in March. They'll be here in our headquarters in Texas for a full week, kind of getting the crash course on how to get going. They'll be back for another week the next month after that. So they're pretty intensive training. But we think that the amount of times we've done it, it's useful. It's not just random information. It's the stuff you need to get in there and start helping your clients right away.
Wow, that's really interesting. So it sounds like there's kind of like 2 different arms to your brand awareness. It sounds like one, kind of building that internal brand awareness, making sure the company culture is there, like you said, what differentiates you, but then also 2, working with, your clients.
Absolutely. And so we have, corporately, we have a responsibility to maintain that culture inside, but then we're trying to educate. And, part of that, again, is choosing the right people to go out. When they go out in the community, they're projecting the right image. We want to project that family culture. We want to project, hey, you can be confident when you come to us that we're going to treat you right. We're going to behave ethically. It's kind of funny. It's funny how it works out when you act ethically and people like you, they want to do business with you. And that seems like it's crazy to say. Some people don't make those assumptions, but it kind of works out in the end when you do that.
Believe it or not, more often
really
than
does,
not.
Yeah.
So, when someone wants to, is looking for different insurance options, how do they start working with Rollo? What does that process look like?
Right. So there's a few different ways. I mean, you can go on our website, you can fill out the contact form, you can call us, you can come into one of our offices. It's going to go kind of the same way, whichever of those that you choose. You'll meet with one of our agents. They'll start getting to know you. They'll ask you, quite a few questions, maybe ask you for some information from your current insurance carrier, start compiling basically a profile of who you are and the things that you need. Then after that meeting's over, we're going to do a lot of work on our side. We're going to take that information, we're going to query different carriers and start to get a picture of what they're saying. Maybe carrier A really likes what we're bringing to them. Maybe carrier B says, it doesn't really fit our profile right now, but that's fine. That's why we have relationships with more than one of them. So we're going to pick, the 2 or 3 best ones, look at them, try to determine exactly what you need, and then make a proposal to you. We're not going to decide for you, but we are going to make a strong recommendation. Say, hey, we think that this carrier, this coverage is the right thing for you.
Yeah. I'm sure, giving clients the autonomy to kind of make that decision for themselves too is helpful.
It is. I mean, we're going to say, hey, we think this is the best one. But, we can't force you. It's your insurance policy. You've got to make that decision. But we also feel that if we educate you the right way, you're going to agree with us.
Yeah, that's really interesting. So kind of speaking on insurance, Daniel, pivoting a little bit, do you hear a lot of misconceptions in the industry or in the field that you want to debunk?
Insurance salesmen don't really have a great reputation, do they? I mean, they've got that idea of, they're just hounding you all the time, knocking on your door. We want to make sure that we're not that. We want to be providing value-added service with what we're able to educate you on. But also, a lot of people, maybe you're starting out at that first point in life. I remember when I first got out of college, all I cared about was, hey, what's the cheapest premium I can get so that, the state doesn't get mad at me for when I'm driving around on the freeway. But as you get older and, maybe you have more assets, more things to protect, it's not just about price. It's about what you're getting for that price. Maybe the lowest car insurance isn't what you need because it'll put you at risk of, if you have an accident, you're liable for a lot more than you anticipated.
Right.
So, that's probably one of the biggest misconceptions is that it's actually all about price. Price is important. We're never going to deny that. And we want to work to get you the best price. But it's not just about price. It's about what you get for the price.
Yeah. Interesting. So, Daniel, as we start to, kind of wrap up this conversation, where can people go to learn more about Rollo?
We can go to our website, rolloinsurance.com. There's a lot of information there. There's a video on our homepage with our founder, Jason Rollo. You kind of get to see him, his personality, which kind of infuses a lot of the stuff that we do. We're on YouTube, Rollo Insurance on YouTube. You can go to our company Facebook page, Rollo Insurance Group. All of those are great places to go to start to learn more about us.
That's fantastic. So, Daniel, like I said, as we wrap up this conversation, is there anything that you want to leave our listeners with, either, kind of about your role in IT, about Rollo Insurance, about, insurance in general, anything you want to leave our listeners with?
Well, I think, you've probably gotten the idea, the picture that we've grown a ton over the past few years. And, when you grow fast, you have to learn a lot as you go. We're used to learning just how to run a business. That's part of what being in business is like. You're learning as you go. That's part of the secret to it. So we understand when a client comes to us and they're confused, they don't know what's going on. Look, we've been there. We've gone through the learning process. We've gone through those growing pains. We're coming out on the other side as a bigger and better company. And when you come to us, we understand, okay, let's slow down. Let's teach you the vocabulary. Let's teach you what you need to know. So we want to empathize with you and make sure that gets done the right way.
Yeah. I think that's important too, because, you're still putting people first, but being able to, stay true to the roots and make sure that you're doing best by your clients.
That's it. We have a lot of conversations in our leadership meetings about, hey, how can we grow and still stay ourselves?
Yeah.
Because if we grow and we don't stay who we are, we don't keep our personality, then there was no point in that.
Right.
We want to be successful and do things the right way from a business perspective, but still, stay true to who we are.
Yeah. Well, Daniel, I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today, breaking down all the different offerings that Rollo Insurance has, kind of a little more about the insurance and, things that you've heard that you want to, debunk. But I really appreciate you taking the time to be on Business Ninjas today.
It's been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it.